What is going on, guys? Rodney here with Crypto Bros. Welcome to tonight's video. It is Sunday, June 3rd. The only reason I know that is because it is my birthday, but we're spending tonight taking a look at IOTX, which is a decentralized network for the Internet of Things. In this video, what we're going to cover is some of the controversy that's surrounded this project within the last couple days. We'll look at the price points. We'll talk about the fact that it was listed on Binance. We'll kind of dive into the basics of IOTX, as well as look at their community, their team, and some of the reviews when it was still in the ICO stage. So we'll get into all that right now. But before we do, just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who has been subscribing to the channel. Just want to say how humbled I am by you guys. Literally, I appreciate every single like, comment, and subscription you guys give. So thank you so much. Anyway, let's get on with this video. The first thing we're going to dive into is this piece surrounding the controversy, and it kind of lies within this kind of flat-lined mark before this monster run-up. So some of the information that's being put out there is they're saying there was price manipulation, there was accumulation, and there was some insider information going on, which basically led up from this 2.5 cents to 8.5 cents run-up. Since then, we can obviously see this has retraced, but there is some, rumor spreading saying that there was a lot of kind of people in the know that were able to cash out on this monster run-up. So very interesting piece here. If we look at where we're trading at currently, we're basically at 5 cents, market cap at 60 million, and 24-hour trade volume of 20 million, currently ranked 188 in market cap. If we go over and look at kind of like the fundamental piece, and this was another red flag for some of the people out there, they're saying the total supply is 10 million, but our circulating, 10 billion, total supply is 10 billion, yet the circulating supply is 1.1 billion, and drawing conclusions based on the token economics here. I'm not saying one way or the other what it is or what it isn't, but I think it's important just to kind of be aware of some of the FUD or manipulation pieces that are surrounding this project. If we take a step back and look at it for what it is, I think Internet of Things is a very popular and a very strong kind of overall fundamental piece, in the blockchain world, and I think it's very popular. If we look at what IOTX has going on in the next 6 months of the year, they do have their testnet alpha launch on June 30th, their testnet beta launch in 3 months, and their mainnet preview launch in 5 months. And we're actually going to just swing over to this Binance info report just because I thought this was a very good and concise write-up on what they're trying to accomplish. So it says, the Internet of Things has rapidly evolved in the past few years, but lacks real-world killer applications. Essentially, and we'll kind of talk about this when we get in there, they're saying like Internet of Things is great, but the infrastructure for people to actually build on top and maximize its true potential is not quite there yet. And they're saying IOTX specifically is kind of creating this blockchain to do that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But then it says, despite massive potential for IoT, there are roadblocks ahead, such as lack of scalability, privacy concerns, and lack of functional value. IOTX is solving these problems by building an auto-scalable and privacy-centric blockchain infrastructure, leveraging the blockchain-in-blockchain architecture for heterogeneous computing, fast, robust POS consensus scheme, and lightweight privacy-preserving techniques. IOTX's mission is connecting the physical world block by block. So if we swing over here to their actual website, again, we see a decentralized network of things. Basically, they're saying they don't want any one company, any one person, any one group of people to be able to control this. So again, we see a lot of decentralized things, but if we kind of move on here, we talk about the problems that they're trying to solve. So one thing that I think is important to note, and you'll hear actually their CEO say this as well, it's like these other blockchain projects that are out there are very good projects, high quality blockchains, but they don't quite fit the need for the Internet of Things and some of the pieces they need for this to transact fluently, saying it's too heavy, too costly, stores too much data. We need a lightweight, more nimble blockchain. So this is where these guys are coming into play, incorporating the privacy piece, scalability and availability, and interoperability, not to mention the cost factor that goes into that. And one note that I do want to make is if we look at kind of IOTA, sometimes it catches some grief because it's not blockchain and it's on like the Tangle network. And I think these guys, IOTA specifically, kind of recognize that, look, if we're going to have IoT based interactions here, we can't have the generic blockchain. We need to have something that's slightly modified. So I just wanted to point that out. Again, my personal opinion, nothing said in this video is financial advice, but you guys already know that. So Iotex Innovations, I think everyone's very familiar with the fast consensus, high throughput transactions, support millions of nodes, all this stuff, as well as the piece in terms of privacy. When we're talking about Internet of Things and blockchain, there's really no privacy at all. So they're working on incorporating that. One thing that they are doing different is blockchains in blockchains, and it says that like Plasma, this pull states off the root chain to further boost privacy, scalability, and interoperability, innovated cross-chain transferring value of data. This is an important piece because when they're trying to connect all these different devices and have them communicate with each other, there needs to be this interoperability layer built in, as is some of these different pieces are not always going to be compatible with every other one. So they're saying having this interoperability piece is a huge thing. And then last but not least, autonomous device coordination, decentralized autonomous organizations for IoT. Code is the law of the robot world. When we go down here, it just kind of breaks down, here's their subchains, their root chains, how everything works, cross-chain transfer, those good things. When we talk about the actual use cases here, pretty interesting stuff in terms of shared economy. This is kind of like an example of like using a smart car or a car through the Internet of Things. You have your application, you do your payment, does the fee ordeal, unlocks your car or whatever you're renting, bike, doesn't matter. So the sharing economy piece, identity management piece, smart home piece, and autonomous vehicles, which if you guys have followed any of my videos, I am kind of a big, nerd when it comes to the autonomous piece, autonomous self-driving cars. I like that DAV ICO going on, but all these different things that can be used with the Internet of Things, especially as we kind of, leap forward into that next generation of technology. When we get into their actual team, as you guys know, my thoughts on this are this is subjective, right? We can look at their experience and make assumptions on that, but these guys bring a ton to the table. So they've got their 3 co-founders up here, fairly impressive stuff. I'll read through these really quickly. PhD and research scientist in cryptography, head of crypto R&D at Uber, security engineer at Google, 8+ years of experience in cryptography and blockchain. We also have another PhD in machine learning and computer vision at National University of Singapore, engineering manager and research scientist at Facebook, growth hacker, startup investor, advisor and 20+ publications / patents, and then founding partner at Sparkland Capital, focusing on frontier tech, led 40+ investments and innovations in blockchain, security, and IoT, board member at numerous companies, extensive experience in startup investments and building up ecosystems. So again, guys, very hardy, and we're not going to go through all these. As we can see here, research engineer at Bosch, 14 years. So a lot of these guys bring a lot of experience to the table, and they actually do a nice job at summing all this up here. Facebook, Google, Uber, Intel, Bosch, Waterloo, Stanford, MIT, all this good stuff. If we go down to their advisors, again, another group of well-experienced folks that are in there. You guys can check these out. You can definitely find them on LinkedIn and all that. They do have a long list of investors here. There are some recognizable names. We can check this out. I do think it's worth mentioning. The website is iotex.io. I will post all the links from everything that I refer from today down below. As we get into their roadmap, it says the opening date here is kind of May 2017, but the inception of the project was actually earlier in the year. I think I heard the CEO say it was like January, but in May of 2017, they kicked off the research on lightweight privacy-preserving techniques for blockchain. Fast forward to today, we are approaching their testnet alpha launch, which we talked about. In April, we saw their testnet preview launch, so they're working towards that. They've got some good goals for the year in terms of developing this blockchain. Again, if you guys want to check out the white paper, part of the reason I don't want to dive into this is because I'm not a big fan of the format. I go through and I do a lot of highlighting to try to pick out the best points, and you can't necessarily do that in here, as well as the fact that it draws on the videos fairly longer. But looking at their community, I think this is really interesting. I don't know if I've seen a Telegram channel this big before. This is basically 66,000 members in the Iotex official group, but if we swing over to their Twitter, we're only at 11K. And usually, I would say, there's always a difference, but not that large. But these guys are fairly active on Twitter. I haven't jumped in and kind of read through the full Telegram yet. I did jump in it today just to kind of check it out a little bit, but I didn't read any of the comments to kind of see what the community was like. But what I did notice again is that huge piece, or the huge difference between their followers in Telegram and the difference in Twitter. And that may not mean anything to you, but what I do know from following so many of these guys is they will run and I'm not saying that IOTX did this, but they'll run like these bounties to get people flooded into the Telegram. I don't know if you guys are on Telegram, you've ever randomly been invited into a group that you didn't, join or anything. And I'm not saying that happened, but sometimes when I see these large discrepancies, a red flag goes up for me. If we swing over to this is ICOdrops.com. We can kind of check out their rating. So we can see return since ICO up 7.61% in USD, basically 7x, not 7.61%, 7.5x USD, basically 7 in ETH and 8 in BTC, almost 9. Our rating, they gave it a high for hype rate, risk rate not rated yet, ROI rate also not rated, but it breaks down all the things they have going on here. If we go over to this is ICO briefing. They gave them they gave them a pretty good score across the board. Their premise 4.5 out of 5, team 4.5, token 3.5, risks low, which rated them a 4, and an overall score what looks like about a 4.25 out of 5. Again, guys, these links will be listed below just so you can kind of read through these and get a basic understanding of what it is. We kind of went through their coin market calendar on there. So yeah. To wrap this thing up, I'm a big fan technically of Internet of Things in general. I like where this is going. I do think if you're going to invest in a project like this, and IOTA included, that you have to be patient here. There isn't a great infrastructure built yet for all these connecting these devices, but if you are a little bit more, I don't want to say forward thinking because that would be the wrong term, but if you're a little bit more like risk adverse, or thinking that down the future that maybe this is the next wave of technology. Again, very speculative play here. This could be worth a long-term hold if you jump into and do your research. Again, this has a lot of hype surrounding it, and from a ROI or price point, from a ROI standpoint or price point standpoint, there is a lot, when there's hype involved, there's a lot of things that can be said and a lot of price action that can be made from that. So anyway, guys, totally up to you whether you want to invest. I typically don't buy into rallies. If it was me, I would probably kind of see where this thing goes in the next couple of weeks. The positive here, though, is it is listed on Binance, and with Binance, generally follows with some volume. So anyway, that is all I have for you guys this evening. I hope this was nice and short. Trying to keep this pretty concise. So anyway, guys, have a great night. I will check you guys later with another cryptocurrency video. So yeah.